What's up, guys? Welcome back to Newswave. Hopefully you're having a good day. I've been playing Stardew Valley and some Axiom Verge, revisiting that. But Stardew Valley on the Switch has been pretty interesting for me because it's portable now. So I'm having a good time with that. And I'm probably going to get started on A Hat in Time very soon. So I'm excited for that too. But we have some cool stuff to talk about today. So let's get started. Now we're going to start with a very interesting article that was posted over on Digitimes where they talked about the Nintendo Switch, specifically that Nintendo is now upping production. I know, we keep hearing this, right? We keep hearing they're upping production over and over again. According to them, though, they are upping production to 2 million units per month, and this apparently comes from sources that are part of the supply chain that they apparently have contact with. Now, is 2 million units per month a lot? Yes. That would place it right around what the Wii did in its second year. The second year for the Wii was a massive 24 million units in 1 year. I've never seen that before with any system. And the Switch, apparently, if it gets to 2 million per month, would be doing that. Now, Digitimes is interesting because they have really reported incorrectly in the past, where they said it was going to be like 16 million in the first year for the Switch, and now apparently they're saying that by the end of the year, Nintendo would have produced 20 million Switches, which I don't think is going to happen at all. In fact, their claim for 2 million per month just seems completely off for everything else we're hearing. So I don't know how reliable this source is that they're talking to, but let's just think for a second about what they're saying here, because it does make sense on one hand, since according to places like Wall Street Journal and other analysts, it seems like Nintendo is getting geared up to enter China, and they wouldn't want to enter China with like 100,000 units. No, they'd want to enter China with like 500,000 units, probably quite a few to kind of just roll in there with. But still, 2 million per month right now doesn't seem to make a lot of sense with what we're seeing, because that would place them at a mammoth amount of Switches by this time next year. Something I don't know if they can even produce with this whole flash chip shortage that's going on. Now, if you don't know, up until 2014, China had a ban on home consoles, which it was then lifted in 2014. The Xbox and the PS4 entered into China. Have not done amazing, right? Haven't done crazy well. However, keep in mind, it's still kind of new to them, and it has been on the rise. But China does favor mobile gaming over home console gaming. So when the Switch enters, which it will enter China, I can tell you that now, absolutely. There's a reason, like we've talked about before, they made that deal with Tencent for their MOBA style game. It's because they want to enter China and then really sell a ton of Switches, because it does really fall more in line with something that they are more interested in, which is the mobile handheld scene. Now, if this turns out to be correct, the Switch will absolutely cruise past the Wii U by the end of 2017, not even fiscal year. It would be by the end of 2017, which is very possible, because keep in mind that Nintendo has really undersold some things to us. For example, they said they were going to have, I think it was 2 million Switch units out there in the first month. They end up coming to the table with 2.74 million. So they have over-delivered before. That's not to say they're going to show up and say, oh, we got 13 million by the end of this year, but it's completely possible. That could be. They're telling us 10 million by the end of 2017 and then 13 million by the end of fiscal year, which again would be the end of March. However, I could see them easily showing up to the end of December and then putting out to investors that, hey, we crossed that 13 million mark early, so, you know, throw a party, I guess. Either way, we'll find out more later on this month. At the end of the month, we will get fiscal results for the previous quarter, and that will let us kind of look back and see how the supply chain kept up. I keep seeing people taking pictures of Switches all over the place, so they're definitely showing up more now than before. There could also be this little lull right before Mario Odyssey, and then of course when the Christmas season kicks off, which usually happens, like heavy amounts of traffic happens right after Black Friday. That's when you really won't be able to find a Switch anywhere. You'll probably won't be able to find, honestly, at that point, Xbox One X's either, or even probably PS4s. So I know that happens a lot. 3DSs were real bad last Christmas. We'll see, though. Keep an eye. Like I said, I'll let you guys know about these financial results we get from their previous fiscal quarter, because we will go over them here. Next up, let's talk about Street Fighter V, because guess what, guys? It's finally leaving its beta. Okay, I guess it wasn't a beta. It's early access status. Okay, I guess they just decided to sell half a game to you at $60 when it came out. But they look like they're trying to fix that, you know, a year later. And that's going to happen in way of Street Fighter V Arcade Edition. Yes, they're calling it Arcade Edition. The one thing that they decided to omit from the original game, they're actually throwing that in the title, which is absolutely hilarious. I will at least give Capcom credit here because they are giving it free of charge to pretty much everyone that has bought it so far, with good reason. Obviously, the biggest complaint was that there were so many things missing from the game. It was pretty much just called bare bones at that point. But yes, it will be free for anyone else who does not have Street Fighter V at the time. They are going to release another edition. This is all happening January 16th for the PS4 and the PC, so you can just buy the entire new version for $39.99. Now, the arcade edition will come, of course, with the arcade mode, as you would expect, where you get to pick from 6 different paths, kind of themed after classic Street Fighter games. Sounds pretty cool. A full gallery that unlocks a bunch of illustrations, new V-triggers, which is each character will have 2 V-triggers, adding more depth to the combat system. This is according to the press release that they sent out to everyone yesterday morning, and according to them, they're also doing new visuals with entire new UI and interface, which is good because some people are complaining about that too. Seems like something they will probably end up having to do overall for Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, maybe this time next year as well. I don't know what Capcom's deal is right now. It's Capcom being Capcom. The Street Fighter V was not ready to release, but I have a feeling there was a lot of pressure to release it last year. I don't know. I guess that's just the way. It's just the way it is. I guess they had to get it out. That's corporate America for you, or I guess in that case, not even corporate America, just corporations in general. You got to put it out because there's a lot of pressure to make sales and get money back. And of course, they figure, hey, we have Sony's backing here, so we can kind of just push it out the door and fix it later. And that's what we're seeing here. At least they're fixing it, right? They're not just leaving it off to die. At least they're going to fix it, and it's free for anyone who has already invested in it. I'm just curious how many people have just moved on at this point. You know, they just don't care because of what Capcom did when it first came out. However, it's probably worth going back and taking a look at. Although I will say, if you have not purchased it yet, I see it all the time for $20 at Walmart. Maybe it's worth buying now ahead of time and just getting the download for free when it comes out. Either way, it's coming January 16th, 2018. Check it out if you're a fighting game fan, I guess, or even a Street Fighter fan. Next up, Project Cars 2 was in the news yesterday, and it's not really in the news for the reason you'd think. They're not talking about features or expansions or anything. They're actually talking about a Switch version, which is very odd, which we'll get to in a second why it's odd. But, of course, Bandai Namco is no stranger to asking Switch fans to spread the word about their games, right? And it's a great strategy. Oh, man, it's an amazing strategy because they kind of build like a small army to go out, a free army, by the way, to go out and really plaster their game all over social media, where you're doing things like retweeting, and it's getting, 5, 6, 7,000 retweets or something like Dragon Ball FighterZ, for example, which, of course, we all want fighters to show up on the Switch for the most part. Everyone does who has a Switch. But that was like really the first one where everyone really freaked out. And now we're kind of catching on to Bandai Namco's game, including other developers too. So really, if you're to the point where they're telling you to do something to get this game, just roll your eyes and laugh, because if they don't want their game on the Switch, which is clearly a very hot item right now. I mean, we just discussed it possibly being up to 2 million units per month. That's kind of their loss. Really, at this point, they'll come to the Switch. But here's the thing. Project Cars is a little different. First of all, Project Cars 2 was talked about in an interview with Fragments of Silicon. This is Bandai Namco community manager Cyrus Weston, essentially being asked about the potential of a port, right? Saying, hey, would this work on the Switch? Can we do this? And he's kind of saying, yeah, I think we can get it on the Switch. And then he basically says, well, how about you guys go out there and, make your voices heard. Go on our website, go on social media, and just start talking heavily about this game so they know we want it. They know you guys want it. And this is really, really funny, because if you don't know, I don't blame you, because a lot of people didn't own the Wii U. It wasn't a third-party system. I only bought first-party games on the Wii U when I was playing it. I just bought my third-party games on other systems, but Project Cars, the first one, was actually supposed to come to the Wii U. They talked about it heavily, they announced it, it was there, and then they delay it, and then they delay it, and then they cancel it despite having interviews about how it's going well, development's happening, and this, that, and the other. But of course, it falls by the wayside because the Wii U slowed to a crawl in terms of sales, and the install base was not there like the other systems. So think about this a little bit. This is a company that canceled the original game on Nintendo fans, right? They canceled it on them flat out. And now they want you to go out and ask them for the second version of their game that they are currently not developing right now for the Switch, but they want you to go out and ask for it anyway. And it's very weird because they're putting it on 2 systems, a PS4 and Xbox One, that have 2 first-party competitors to this thing. There is no full, scale simulation racing game on the Switch right now. Whereas there's Forza on the Xbox and there's Gran Turismo on the PS4. two games that will be advertised more than Project Cars 2 on their marketplaces. Like, it's a first-party game. Sony and Microsoft make more money on it. Of course, it's going to be in front of you more than Project Cars 2 will, but whenever Nintendo decides to get their act together and have eShop categories, how many games are going to be in the racing category? Not a lot. Well, obviously, Mario Kart's there, obviously, but for people who want a simulation racing game where you race around a track at normal speeds and you're fixing up your cars, you do all this stuff, you're going to buy Project Cars 2 because there's nothing else to buy. So this whole thing, guys, don't even look at it. I wouldn't even bother about it. It's just Namco Bandai pulling their standard marketing tactic, and it's worked so far, so why wouldn't they? I would just let it go. If they want to bring it over, great, they brought it over. Otherwise, it's their loss, really. Next up, let's talk about Retro City Rampage for a second. And I was really excited when I saw this press release come out yesterday. It was sent out to a lot of people. They're doing a physical copy on the Switch, and it looks so awesome. If you're a fan even of like the Retro City Rampage DX on other systems, and you've always wanted some way to do, like, I guess some kind of collector's piece for it, check this thing out. It's completely self-published by V-Blank Entertainment, who obviously you're the ones making it. And they have the limited collector's edition, which has a cartridge, manual, soundtrack, keychain, 3D glasses, and a full reversal cover, by the way, that has like the Sega Master System look to it, which is really cool. There's two different versions. There's just like the regular standard edition where it doesn't come with all the extra stuff. It's just the game, obviously, and the case and manual and everything. $29.99 on that version. If you want the limited edition version, $44.99. That is available for pre-order on their site October 9th at 9 a.m. Pacific or 12 p.m. Eastern time, and then those orders will ship later on this month. What a great idea. I love physical media. I'm so glad these companies are doing this, and the Switch is they're getting some really cool indie physical releases, and that's great. I will look into this. I will buy this, and I can't wait to have it just to put it up on my shelf somewhere, even though I already have it technically digitally on the Switch, on my PC, on my PS4. It's a good game. It's a lot of fun. And now I'm just ready for Shakedown Hawaii. Let's get on to that one. And in our last bit of news, let's talk about a little Easter egg that Microsoft has left inside the Xbox One X. Something we'll see firsthand here on this channel, since I will be taking apart the Xbox One X on the day it comes out. And that's going to be a lot of fun, so make sure you subscribe, obviously, so you can see that. But what's really cool is a lot of the times developers of these systems, we saw it with Nintendo with their Pro Controller where they hid a message inside, and now we're seeing it here with Microsoft where they actually hid an imprint of Master Chief riding a scorpion on the motherboard in the Xbox One X. This was discovered by a YouTube channel by the name of Unicero. It's a Spanish technology-focused channel, and what was cool is they show clips of a disassembled Xbox One X, and wouldn't you know it, there it is printed right on the PCB board, Master Chief and a scorpion. What a weird thing to do. It's kind of a nod, obviously, to the Scorpio edition. I still think that's a better name than the X, by the way. They could have got away with that. I know they want to do Xbox One X for branding because there's X and then there's S, and that's kind of what they're doing now. But still, I think Scorpio was a really cool name overall. But at least it's kind of going to live on forever on printed circuit boards. We'll, of course, like I said, get face-to-face with that engraving, which we'll take a look at, as well as the rest of the Xbox One X. I want to see the vapor cooling chamber. I want to see the chip itself, see how large that sucker is. It's probably going to be a pretty good size. Overall, should be a lot of fun, and that is, at this point, almost a month away. It's getting exciting right now. We're getting close to the time where games start dropping, a new system is dropping. It's going to be a lot of fun this holiday. And that's it for Newswave today, guys. Make sure you comment, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Let me think about any of the stuff we talked about today, whether it is the Street Fighter V Arcade Edition. Are you excited they're finally, I guess, fixing it at this point, right? I mean, they kind of are. They're adding everything for free for current customers, and then they're releasing an edition for $40 that has everything with it. Is that good enough for you? Are you ready to go back to Street Fighter, check everything out, and then maybe give it another shot? Let me know down below, and then also let me know about this odd Nintendo Switch being upped to a certain amount every month. Is that even possible? Do you think 2 million Switches a month is a thing? Do you think that's actually happening, or do you think that's just Digitimes kind of getting bad information? It's so weird. I'm kind of on the edge, but I think when the financials actually come out at the end of this month and we get a better idea of what kind of trajectory they're on, then we can make some judgments there. Thanks, guys, for watching. I'll see you next time.